All right, guys, welcome back to the Detroit Sports Bettors Picks and Plays show. I am sorry for missing week 16. I got sick in week 16, was down for the count for a couple days, was pretty tough to get on and do a video, but I did get the podcast out earlier in the week. I did have picks and plays on Twitter and on Facebook, so it is very important to follow Detroit Sports Bettors on every form of social media. We went 10-3 last week, just absolutely smashed. 4-1 on the podcast, 10-3 in total on Twitter. So again, guys, follow every form of social media. And in addition to that, Twitter is by far the best because right now plays are changing by the hour, by the minute with all this COVID news. Literally, like as I was starting to get the YouTube video going, Antonio Gibson came down with COVID and I have him going in my damn fantasy championship. So that's just how it is right now. That's just how it is. It is very tough. You have to monitor all the way up until kickoff. You need to see who could potentially miss, who's questionable, everything. Be up to date with the picks and plays that you are going with, or the players that can affect spreads and over-unders, okay? Now we're going into week 17. I believe on the YouTube series, we're like 49-27, somewhere around there, because the podcast is 51-27. And I know we actually had a better record on here. So again, we're somewhere in that range. I will have an end of year review video where we recap all of our picks and plays throughout the year. But week 17, feel like I got some great picks and plays this week. As you know, I play situations, backs against the wall, team still fighting. Let's get right into it, okay? And one thing I wanted to say very briefly is Dallas Cowboys plus 900 to win the Super Bowl. I think that's pretty solid right now. They have the best defense in football, and the most dangerous thing heading into the playoffs is having a front four on the defensive line who can get to the quarterback without blitzing, and you can just run coverage. The Dallas Cowboys are the best team in the NFL at that, and I haven't even mentioned their offense, who is just as stout. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things where you're always kind of like, Cowboys will be Cowboys, but who knows? They've never had a defense like this. But getting into week 17 picks and plays, we are starting off with the Las Vegas Raiders at +7 going against the Indianapolis Colts. For one, right now, Carson Wentz is questionable with COVID. I like this spread, obviously, with Carson Wentz, and I like this spread without Carson Wentz. But if Carson Wentz does not play, this spread will surely drop. Okay, the Indianapolis Colts, for one, are on a 3-game win streak. You guys know I like to play letdown spots. And then in addition to that, they've won 6 of their last 7. Okay, playing some really good football. The Colts have become a very tough team, a team that I have frequently talked about on Detroit Sports Bettors. But Raiders +7, you know, they've had 1-score games in 4 of their last 5 games. +7 is a lot of points for an 8-7 team still looking to get into the playoffs. They're fighting to get into the playoffs. You know, Colts 9-6, Raiders 8-7. So this should be a competitive game. And then in addition to that, look at the Raiders track record. You know, they are that team that still upset the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving when no one expected them to. A lot of people were even sleeping on them against the Denver Broncos last week. This is just one of those teams when you don't think they're going to come out and play well, they tend to come out and play well. And over this time, Derek Carr has become a veteran in this league. He is someone who gets his team going. He can make some plays. He makes some specific throws. And it makes me like that Raiders +7. I do think that they're going to be able to keep this one close. This defense is better than people do believe. And again, I think 7 is just too many points for a team trying to fight to get into the playoffs. And then there's a team like the Colts, who is also in a letdown spot, winning 3 in a row and 6 out of their last 7. So again, I do think they're susceptible. And even if they're in a letdown spot, even if it's just competitive, 7, you can remain in that and hit that spread. So again, I'll be with the Raiders +7 here. Moving on, we have the Baltimore Ravens at home going against the LA Rams. This is a +4.5 spread for the Baltimore Ravens, and that's exactly where I'm going in this one. This is contingent on Lamar Jackson playing, but I do believe he's going to play this game. He almost played last week. And then if not, even if Huntley can go, I would ride this spread just as is with Huntley as well. And I know this is a plus 4.5 spread, but if Lamar plays, I like them to win this game outright. I truly do. We know how the LA Rams are. They're up and down. And then Matt Stafford can truly be an MVP candidate one week, and then the following week he looks like a rookie quarterback. The Baltimore Ravens have had one-score games in 10 games this season, and last week they got blown out by their rivals in the Cincinnati Bengals. Coach Harbaugh is going to take that personal. He is going to scheme for this game very correctly. And I think he's going to get this defense up and going. I think the Rams are going to have a tougher time than people believe. Yes, I still think the Ravens are one of the more overrated teams in all of football, but as you know, I play situations, and the Baltimore Ravens have their backs against the wall now. They need this game. They're even at risk of missing the playoffs after being, the top team in the AFC. So again, I think Harbaugh takes this personal. I think this team takes this personal. Cincinnati last week really set out to embarrass them, not just beat them, embarrass them. So I do expect the Ravens to respond. I like this plus 4.5. And then in addition to that, I like them to win this one outright. And I think this, again, is one that you're going to need to monitor up until kickoff, just because of the Lamar Jackson news or any COVID-related news. But again, I think Stafford makes a couple mistakes, and I think these mistakes will end up pushing the Ravens over the edge to cover the spread or to win this one outright. So I'll take the Ravens plus 4.5 on this Sunday. Moving on, we have the Arizona Cardinals going on the road to face off against the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, this is a minus 6.5 spread for the Dallas Cowboys, and I will be going with the Arizona Cardinals plus 6.5. And in this video, you will definitely see a trend of teams getting points and having their backs against the wall. Okay, the Arizona Cardinals have now lost 3 games in a row, and they've dropped out of first place for the division. And when you've lost 3 games in a row and you're 2 games away from the playoffs, you need to right this ship in one way or another. They are really missing DeAndre Hopkins, and they are really missing J.J. Watt. And when you're going against a team like the Dallas Cowboys with, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Randy Gregory, Trayvon Diggs, they're going to need Kyler Murray to step up in the pocket and use his feet. Last week, he did do more of that, but the team just wasn't all there. James Conner is coming back this week. He's not that big of a factor in the run game, but when they get down in the 10-yard line in the red zone, he becomes a huge factor because he is their goal line back, and he's far better on the goal line than Chase Edmonds. And it's a bigger boost than people believe because you think about it, Kyler Murray and Chase Edmonds, how easy are they to tackle? You add in James Conner, that's totally different. He is a tough person to bring down. He's a tough person to tackle. Has a ton of touchdowns this year. So again, that helps me to like that Arizona Cardinals plus 6.5 as well. And then in addition to that, the Dallas Cowboys have won 4 games in a row, absolutely smashing the football team last week. But this is still the Dallas Cowboys that, teams sneak up on them. Thanksgiving Day, primetime matchup, the Raiders came out and beat the Cowboys in Dallas, So this is one of those teams where they can sneak up. And the Arizona Cardinals definitely need this game more so than Dallas. Do I believe Arizona to win this game? I don't know. I just think 6.5 is a lot of points. And I expect the Cardinals to at least fight at the very least, to do everything that they can to be competitive and to keep this game close, because this still is a very talented football team. 6.5 is a lot of points after winning 4 games in a row, after absolutely smashing Washington. Do not expect them to do that twice in a row. I'll be on the Cardinals plus 6.5 in this one. Moving on, we have the Denver Broncos going on the road to face off against the Chargers. This is a minus 6.5 spread for the Chargers, but I will be on the Denver Broncos plus 6.5. And this just all comes down to matchups for me. All comes down to matchups. The Broncos have the 2-headed monster of Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, and the Chargers have by far the worst rush defense in all of football. And I think they're creeping up to one of the worst defenses in the entire NFL. They are that bad. That's the reason that, I mean, if you listen to the podcast last week, that's the reason I said Chargers in Houston over 46, because that defense is so bad that the Houston Texans can put up 30 on them. So the Denver Broncos now, I believe they're 13th in terms of rushing the football throughout the NFL. So I like Melvin Gordon to get it going. I like Javonte Williams to get it going. And then on the other hand, they have a good pass defense. They have people who can rush the quarterback. They have a solid rush defense. I mean, I don't like it because I have Justin Herbert in 2 out of my 3 fantasy championships this week. But Herbert's just one of those guys who's so talented. You never know what he can go do. But again, 6.5 is a lot of points for a team that just gave up 100+ yards and 2 touchdowns to Rex Burkhead, and now they're going against Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, who are 2 of the tougher, 2-headed running back monsters in the entire NFL. Yes, Teddy Bridgewater will not be playing. So Drew Lock, there's always risk of turnover there, but I think they're really going to have a scheme where they just come in, they run the football incredibly heavy, they mix in the play action game, and I think they keep it within 6.5. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Broncos were the first team to score in this game, and then because of that, it's just within that spread the entire time. This Broncos is a tougher team than really people believe. So again, I'm going to be on the Broncos plus 6.5. I think they keep that on I think they keep the football on the ground. They run it a lot. And one thing that happens when you run the football and you pick up first downs, you control the clock and you keep the football away from your opponent. Denver Broncos plus 6.5 in this one. Moving on. Is this our last play? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is our last play of the day already. Okay, cool. So we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at home going against the Cleveland Browns. Right now, this is a Steelers plus 3.5 spread. And once again, there's a very common theme throughout this video, getting points and teams with their backs against the wall. But I will be with the Steelers plus 3.5 in this one. And I mean, you guys have heard me talk about how bad I think the Steelers are all year round, but I love playing situations. And if you're giving me a rivalry game of the Steelers and Browns, a low total, and you're giving me 3 plus the hook with the 3.5, I'm going to take that all day. Then you add in the fact that the Steelers just got blown out by the Chiefs last week, absolutely embarrassed again. I think Mike Tomlin creates the correct scheme against the Browns. The Browns are not a tough team to figure out. They're very simple. So I do think this game is going to remain very close. In addition to that, Big Ben Roethlisberger, this is probably his last game all time in Pittsburgh. He's going to retire. He should probably retire. He keeps quoting it as, this is my last game in Pittsburgh. Like, bro, who the hell else is going to want you playing quarterback right now? Let's be real. But again, whatever it may be, it's his last game in Pittsburgh. I think the fans get up. I think Mike Tomlin tries to create the best game plan possible. I think the team goes out and tries to get this one for Big Ben. So again, I like the 3.5 here. I don't mind a money line sprinkle as well. This Pittsburgh defense is not the same defense of old, but they know how to play the Browns. Baker Mayfield threw 4 interceptions last week. I don't know. He could be very prone to turn the football over again. And if you do that in this game and you give away any free points, it's going to be a tough one to come back from, just because, again, low totals. They don't expect this to be a high-scoring game. And then you're going to give me 3.5 with the home team and Big Ben in his last game ever in Pittsburgh? I'll take that. I love writing narratives. I love writing scenarios. So once again, I will be on the Steelers plus 3.5 at home in this one. So let's recap everything for week 17. We have the Las Vegas Raiders plus 7 against the Indianapolis Colts. We have the Baltimore Ravens plus 4.5 at home against the LA Rams. This is one to monitor Lamar Jackson or Huntley, okay? From there, we have the Arizona Cardinals at plus 6.5 on the road against the Cowboys. We have the Denver Broncos plus 6.5 on the road against the Chargers. And we have the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 3.5 at home against the Cleveland Browns. Okay. So those are our picks and plays for week 17, Detroit Sports Bettors. As always, please continue to support the Detroit Sports Bettors name. We have like 3,496 followers on Twitter. Would really appreciate 4 more. Help us get to that 3,500 mark. Throw us some retweets, some likes, shoot a comment, like, subscribe, whatever it may be. A lot of work goes into this stuff. We try and give the best picks and plays possible, and we are hitting at 64% on the year. You don't see that very often, y'all. So as always, I am Matt Kowalis from Detroit Sports Bettors. Happy New Year, everyone, and good luck this Sunday. I'm out.